Hi students, Assalamu alaikum. This is Wahid Yusuf, your English teacher. We completed the poem that is The Tale of Custard the Dragon. And in the previous lecture, we discussed the themes related to that. We discussed the style of that poem as well. And as far as today's lecture is concerned, in today's lecture, we'll start a new poem. And the poem is Last Lesson of the Afternoon. Last Lesson of the Afternoon is the name of the poem which will start today. Which will start today. And in this very lecture, so from today we'll be doing this poem that is Last Lesson of the Afternoon. But in today's lecture, particularly, we'll discuss the writer, we'll discuss the poet first. We'll discuss the poet who is D.H. Lawrence. Who is D.H. Lawrence? English writer, English poet, we can say. So we have this poet of ours who is D.H. Lawrence. And in today's lecture, we'll discuss something about D.H. Lawrence. We'll discuss his life, we'll discuss his literary career, and we'll discuss other things of his as well. See, as far as David Herbert Lawrence is concerned, David Herbert Lawrence was one of the most versatile and influential writers in 20th century literature. So, versatile as well as influential in 20th century literature. And he was born on September 11, 1885. September 11, 1885 is the date of birth of D.H. Lawrence, and the birthplace was Northamptonshire. Northamptonshire is a place in England where he was born, and he died on 2nd March, 2nd March 1930, 1930 in France. In France. See, he is best known for his novels. So he was not only a novelist by profession, he was a poet also, he was a playwright also, he was a short story writer also, he was an essayist, he was a literary critic, he was a travel writer. He has traveled a lot, and he was a travel writer also. So he has all these things in himself. He was a versatile writer. That is why he is known as versatile writer, one of the versatile writers, one of the most versatile writers, because of all these things: being a novelist, a poet, a playwright, a short story writer, even a literary critic, even an essayist. So he has written fiction as well as non-fiction. So he was well versed in fiction and well versed in non-fiction as well. So he is best known for his novels. He is best known for his novels. And the particular thing about D.H. Lawrence is that the controversial themes for which he is remembered, namely the celebration of sensuality in an over intellectualized world, and his relationship with censors sometimes overshadow the work of a master craftsman and profound thinker. So in a way, he had these controversial themes in his writings. Is this novel Lady Chatterjee's Lover, that sons and lovers, they are all with these controversial themes. Novels like these, and will in the later part of the lecture will come to know what happened with him, and what he was quoted differently then, and he was very much criticized. He was very much criticized also. See, as far as his life is concerned, if we try to talk about his life, he was born on September 11, 1885, in the small coal mining village of Eastwood, that is in Nottinghamshire, in England. In England, and he was the fourth child of his parents. Fourth child of his parents. See, Lawrence's father, whose name was Arthur. Okay, Arthur. He was a miner. He was a miner, and the mining boom of the 1870s had taken the family around Nottinghamshire, and that is why he spent his he spent his formative years, he spent his early childhood in the coal mining. So he himself, the writer, the person whose name is D.H. Lawrence, he was well versed with this coal mining, with this mining, because his father, who was not a literate, who was not a good literate, and he would work in the coal mining. He was a miner, and he has also spent his formative years in coal mining, as far as D.H. Lawrence is concerned. On the other end, as far as his mother is concerned, Lawrence's mother, she was an intellectually ambitious woman, and she was disillusioned with her husband's dead end job and irresponsible drinking habits, and she encouraged her children to advance beyond their restrictive environment. So these children, along with Lawrence, they were restricted in this environment. They were restricted in this environment of coal mining, but she, as an intellectual, she tried to make them think beyond this. She encouraged her children to advance beyond their restrictive environment. So she was an intellectual, and she knew that this is not the good way, this is not the good thing for their children, and that is why she encouraged them to advance. See, Lawrence attended Beauvale Board School from 1891 to 1898. These are the dates when he attended the school, that is Beauvale Board School. And from 1902 to 1906, he served as a pupil teacher at the British School, Eastwood. So he has this passion for teaching, because he is very emotional. He was very close to his mother, and his mother was also a teacher. She had been a teacher in her life, and that is why this writer of ours, D.H. Lawrence, he has also this love for teaching, and that is why from 1902 to 1906 he served as a pupil teacher at the British School, Eastwood. He studied even harder to become a teacher, and after studying hard in the hopes of becoming a teacher, Lawrence was accepted to Nottingham University School in 1906. Nottingham University School. In 1906, he was accepted in Nottingham University School, at Nottingham University School, Nottingham University College in 1906. And by that time, he had begun writing poetry, and what would turn into The White Peacock, his first novel. So he started writing poetry, but he wrote down a novel that was his first novel, and the novel was The White Peacock. The White Peacock. And he did not enjoy the collegiate atmosphere and spent most of his time at Nottingham writing and learning about socialism. Still, he excelled in his work, and upon graduation in 1908, He did graduation. Upon graduation in 1908, he received a job at the Davidson Road Boys School near London. So that was his dream actually. He became a full-time teacher now. He received a job at the school which was named as the Davidson Road Boys School, and it was near London. It was near London. See, and in 1907, he also won a short story competition. He also won a short story competition. So he has this skill. He has this skill of writing. He had this mastery over writing. That is why in the earlier stage of his life he also won a award for in a short story competition. So he started writing in the period that is 1902 to 1906. He started writing, and in 1906, sorry, yes, in 1906, he almost started writing poetry, and then that turned into a novel, that was The White Peacock. And in 1907 he won a short story competition, and in 1908 he received a job. He received a job at the Davidson Road Boys School. Davidson Road Boys School. And this gave him enough time to continue his writing. And he was, even though he was a teacher, he worked as a teacher, but he never stopped writing. He never stopped writing. See, it was while teaching in Davidson Road School. While teaching in Davidson Road School, he continued writing, and there was a person whose name was Jesse Chambers. Jesse Chambers. Actually, the person submitted some Lawrence's early poetry to Ford Herman Hofer. That is the name of the publisher. That is the name of the editor of the influential The English Review. The English Review. Hofer then commissioned the story Odor of Chrysanthemums, which, when published in that magazine, encouraged Heinemann, a London publisher, to ask Lawrence for more work. So his career as a professional author now began in earnest, although he taught for another year. So this was the date in 1908. In 1908 he started teaching at the school. And then he was his this story, that is Odor of Chrysanthemums, that was published. And because of that story, a London publisher whose name is Heinemann, he asked Lawrence for more work, and that is how his literary career started as a professional writer, as a professional author. So his professional career as an author began with the publishing of the story Odor of Chrysanthemums. So this was the first piece of writing which made him a professional author, and it was because of the help of Jesse Chambers, who submitted some of Lawrence's early poetry to Ford Herman Hofer. And shortly after the final proofs of his first published novel, The White Peacock, which appeared in 1910, and some say with 1911. So the White Peacock that appeared in 1910, and it was actually, he started writing this novel from 1907, 1906, 1907, and it was published in 1910. And after that, Lawrence's mother died of cancer. The young man was devastated now, and he was to describe the next few months as his sick year. And due to Lawrence's close relationship, see, I already told you, he has this close relationship with his mother. He has this close relationship with his mother, and due to that close relationship with his mother, his grief became a major turning point in his life, just as the death of his character, Mrs. Morrel, is a major turning point in his autobiographical novel, Sons and Lovers. See, as far as this novel is concerned here, it is known to be an autobiographical novel of D.H. Lawrence. Autobiographical novel of D.H. Lawrence. Actually, D.H. Lawrence has come across a lot of tension, a lot of problems in his life. See, Sons and Lovers is an autobiographical novel, as I told you, and it talks about the relationship. It talks about the relationship of sons with their mothers, or it's a relationship of a son with his mother. See, the relationship, including Lydia's smoothing love for D.H. Lawrence. Lydia was his mother's name. Lydia's smoothing love for him is examined in depth in Sons and Lovers. Is examined in depth in Sons and Lovers. It was published in 1913. It was published in 1913. The novel also focuses on industrialism and explores the battle between the intellectual mind and the sensual body, drawing from Lawrence's experiences and influences. So all these things, we have a lot of themes in this novel, that is Sons and Lovers. D.H. Lawrence Actually, D.H. Lawrence belonged to the period when it was World War, and that is World War First. And after the wartime years, Lawrence began what is termed his savage pilgrimage. That is a kind of exile, voluntarily exiled himself. That was a voluntary exile of D.H. Lawrence. He voluntarily exiled himself from Britain. He escaped from Britain at the earliest practical opportunity and returned only twice for brief visits. So he escaped from Britain, that he calls himself savage pilgrimage. The exile, he calls himself that exile as savage pilgrimage, and he returned only twice for brief visits to Britain, and otherwise he would travel from one country to another. This wanderlust took him to Australia, Italy, Ceylon, that is currently Sri Lanka, the United States, Mexico, and the south of France. So this was how he started this savage pilgrimage, sorry. So he visited a lot of countries. He traveled to a lot of countries. That is how he wrote a travel writing. So, and see, this was the life. I didn't discuss even the life of D.H. Lawrence. We discussed some points about his life and some points about his career, and we also discussed some points about his exile, when he exiled himself, and where did he go after he called that voluntary exile as savage pilgrimage. Now, coming to the very important aspect of his works. See, Lawrence believed his collected works, he believed in something different from other writers. He believed in something different from other writers. His collected works represent a reaction against industrial revolution. So as far as Lawrence's works are concerned, his works represent a reaction against the Industrial Revolution and the modern civilization, which he believed has dehumanized mankind. So he thinks he represents because of he represents through his writings that this industrial revolution and modern civilization has dehumanized mankind. These things have dehumanized mankind. And Lawrence's opinions earned him many enemies and endured official persecution also. This is very important. He earned many enemies because of his opinions, because of his writings, and he even endured this official persecution, even censorship and misrepresentation of his creative work throughout the later part of his life, toward the second half of his life, much of which he spent in a voluntarily exile. So he spent this life in savage pilgrimage, but he earned a lot of enemies, and he endured official persecution, he endured censorship, and even misrepresentation. That is how his image was built up in the folks, in the people, in the minds of critics, etc. And at the time of his death, his public reputation was that of a pornographer who had wasted his considerable talents. So he had not a great influence during his lifetime, because he was considered a very this who has this bad moral, who is not a good writer, or simply we are told that he had this image, he had this reputation of a pornographer who had wasted his talents. However, it is very important whenever we talk about this D.H. Lawrence, we have to talk about E.M. Forster as well, because it was because of E.M. Forster, in an obituary notes, he challenged this widely held view, describing him as the greatest imaginative novelist of our generation. So it was because of E.M. Forster who described him as the greatest imaginative novelist of our generation. And later, the influential Cambridge critic, that is F.R. Lewis, championed both his artistic integrity and his moral seriousness, placing much of Lawrence's fiction within the great tradition of English novel. And now Lawrence is regarded as one of the finest novelists in English literature, because of these influential persons, because of the note of E.M. Forster, and because of the critique, that is F.R. Lewis. Because of these persons, he gained this currency back, he gained this reputation back, and he's considered one of the finest novelists in English literature. And as I already told you, that his major works include Sons and Lovers, that is Women in Love, Lady Chatterjee's Lover, and The White Peacock. So this was about something about a little bit about D.H. Lawrence. And in lectures coming, we'll discuss other things, and then we'll discuss the poem also. Thank you.